Hello everybody, this is Johnny S with another vlog. Today is going to be a little bit different. It's less riding and more talking. We've come to a place where it's a little bit peace and quiet. Hopefully we don't bother anybody. There's a school behind us. We might need to cut the video short because I have not been on this place before and I don't know if somebody will come out and say, could you please keep it down. It's very quiet. I had to drive around the area. It's close to my house and I was trying to find somewhere where it's more remote, where we can talk. There's not a lot of cars passing by without going far away. I hope you can hear me properly. We got the Hero mode on. We are not recording on night vision. We're recording on 2.4 2.7K 50 fps super view with hardware stabilization. From what I can see from the screen, you can see the bike quite good from behind. We got our AGV helmet up there as well. So sorry if I'm sweating a lot. It's very hot. Even in the night time, when you go for a drive out, it's nice because you're cool, but as soon as you stop even for a little bit, you start sweating. So it's not windy today. It's good in one sense because the camera will not move. In another sense, I will have to, so if you see my head shining because of the many hair that I have, it's a little bit hot, that's why. And the bike is boiling behind me also, which does not help. Okay, so today's topic is going to be one of these jobs, one of my jobs in Greece. We have talked about my jobs in Australia. If you don't mind, I'm going to roll up a smoke. It helps my train of thought and also keeps me more chilled out. So a little bit of background information about me. I'm going to go through it really quickly just in case somebody is new to the channel. My name is John, as the channel has suggested. I'm 44 years old, married with a 6-7-year-old boy. I'm living in Greece. I grew up in Australia. A big portion of my life was in Australia, therefore I have decided to make this YouTube channel in English. There's a lot of vloggers and a lot of motor vloggers in Greece, but they're all speaking Greek, you know what I mean? Which means that the audience is limited. You have to know Greek, and Greek is not a very common language, you know what I mean? Whereas English, it's much more common, and I thought, accessibility wise, it will be much better. To tell you the truth, I am more comfortable speaking in Greek. So as I said, 2004 we came back to Greece. I was 20 and 24. I'm 44 now. So I lived in Australia for all my teenage years, from year 6 all the way to graduation. Then I worked a lot. I went to college. I did all these things, and then I came back to Greece. So in Greece in 2004, in previous videos we talked about all the Australian experiences that I had, the works and everything. Now we're going to talk about my first job in Greece, which was a place called Plesio. It's an electrical computer store, let's say. I started as a salesman. So 2004 we came back to Greece. 2000 we had to do the compulsory army service in Greece. That was 6 months. It wasn't a long period because I was an Australian citizen. After I think 10-11 years, you become an Australian citizen. You actually have to take the oath and everything. And for the for the citizens which are outside of Greece, the army service is reduced to 6 months. Usually it's 12 months. So I did the army, and in 2005 I completed all my responsibilities, what I own to the government, let's say, and that's when I started my professional life, looking for a job. I really was just on float. I had no bank account, I had nothing, I had no knowledge of what the Greek system is. In the army, I kind of got an idea. It was an interesting experience in the army, and I know that I'm going a little bit off topic. The main topic is going to be my job at Plesio, okay, but I'm going to make it an introductory of what it was like to come from Australia to Greece as well, so I don't make separate videos. So it was an interesting experience. I really got emotional in the airport when I came. My cousins, everybody came to pick us up from the airport, and I have never regretted it. I have never gone back. There's many reasons why we came to Greece. That's a separate video. We'll talk about it, and we'll do a comparison between Australia and Greece and some of the things. things. There's many topics, and because for that video I want to make it specific, I want to have a specific points to go through, because there has been a lot of questions from my friends, from my family, from other members that they've talking and asking a lot of questions, like why did you decide to come back to Greece. A lot of time people have downplayed the country that they're in, and they think that a different country is better than the one that they're in, which is not true. Every country has the positives and the negatives. Anyway, not to focus on that a lot. In 2005 I started looking for a job. I literally had no background, no nothing. I didn't have my my resume with some experiences, but they were in Australia. And a lot of people in Greece, they were a little bit skeptical when somebody comes to you from Australia. Some of them were positive because they understood that he's done jobs in Australia, but some of them were a little bit reluctant, in a sense of they could not cross-check the references that I had in my resume, and it was a little bit strange to some people. To others it was no problem. So I asked my cousins, where do you think I should start looking? And they said, as a salesman on the computer industry, it was a little bit difficult to get straight away into like a developer job or a programmer job or something on the IT, let's say, thing. So I started handing out resumes and everything, and I got a call back from Plesio. Plesio was one of the shops that called me back. There were some other ones. There was a Cosmo Data. There's another IT shop like with things. They were one of the ones that I was more interested in, based on what I had heard from other people. It was one of the largest store, and still is one of the largest store. And Plesio is a good job as a stepping stone. You get involved with many different things. There's a technical compartment in a department in Plesio, and there's the sales as well. So you learn a lot of things. You learn interactions with the customers. You learn the day-to-day, let's say, sort of operations, but you can also get involved with the more technical IT things if you get to work on the service. So that was my initial target. My goal was to work in Plesio as a technician, but unfortunately there was no positions opening. That was a negative thing, let's say, but nevertheless I thought, okay, fuck it, don't worry about it. Start with whatever position is available, and slowly, as I've done in the past, I will climb. So I started as a salesperson. We had a small, like a 1 month training, let's say, and then we went to the shop as a salesman. I started selling on things which were on the digital appliances. So selling cameras, I was selling DVD recorders, TVs, whatever has to do with like a home cinema, let's say, station. I was in charge of that. And again, that was a school, because I had not done something similar in Australia. I had worked on a computer shop, but it was more of a computer assembly, let's say. So Plesio offered me the knowledge of what it's like on a day-to-day basis to handle customers. At the beginning I worked at a store which was called Stornari as a salesman, and then I moved to another store which is in Syntagma, in a road called Voulis, and I was also a salesman there. At some point of time I climbed up in a sense of a better position where I was in the computer. So I phrased my interest that I was interested in computers, and I worked on what we call in Greece Pagos Anavathmesis. In other words, it's the update station, where it's more closely related to computers and stuff. When I was selling things there, one of the managers noticed that I had a lot of knowledge, technical knowledge, about the parts which go inside a computer. And he noticed that because when I was explaining to the customers, I was very descriptive, I was offering a lot of technical information, and possibly these customers went to him after I sold them a couple of parts. They went to the technical department of Plesio to put the computer together, for the assembly. I think it was €40 back then to, for Plesio to take charge and put your things together. So possibly, what he told me is, I've got a lot of customers which are coming and they've got like awesome parts for the computer, as if they know, and like the compatibility wise and everything, it's just perfect, And I was thinking, he goes, how are they possible to do this? So I asked them, and they said, they talked with you, and there was a good salesman. So how come you know so much about that? I told him, well, I've studied this and this and this, so he understood that. And he goes to me, how come you didn't apply for a technical position? I mean, I told him, yeah, there was an opening. He goes, okay, well, I've got an opening now. Are you interested? I go, hell yeah. Okay, let's organize a meeting with higher management as well. Bring your resume again, get your papers ready. We'll go through the interview process, and if you're suitable for the job, we'll get you. So we had, as he said, an interview, and he took me in. He was an awesome manager. I worked with him, and I had another colleague by the name of Vaios. An interesting thing with that guy is that we're like kin spirits, let's say. Whenever we go, I see him in front of me. You know what I mean? He was my supervisor in the IT department of Plesio. Basically, my job was to repair computers. So whenever a customer had a problem within warranty, he brought the computer system to us, and we used to do repairs. Not only computers, on desktop computers, laptop computers, but I also brought digital appliances. So you did have to know a little bit of electronic knowledge. It was not just computer assembly, and you had to troubleshoot. Usually on the digital devices such as cameras and all this, you did not go in the process of repairing unless there was a specific part that you needed to be replaced. Usually we used to do replacements and stuff, but you were in the process of, it was a challenging job as far as coming face to face with the customer. I started as a salesman, and on a salesman, it is challenging because some customers are like weird, let's say, fucking idiots. It's that thing that say, the customer is always right. Some people came just to do trouble, you know what I mean? Some people came, they did not want to buy them, were just tourists, or what we call tourists, you know what I mean? But nevertheless, they're in a normal, let's say, state of mind, okay? When somebody comes to the IT department, the service that I used to work, they're already pissed. You know what I mean? They're not there to buy something, they're there because something went wrong. They are disappointed, they want to scream at you. Sometimes they bought a computer like the day before and then something happened. Sometimes it's things that they don't know. So you have to be very diplomatic. You cannot scream to them, to understand and sympathize with what they're going through. And even though that in some cases, like it was stupid things, like my computer can't open, you know what I mean? Or I can't open Word, you know what I mean? And there was some setting which was a silly setting on the computer. You can't, when you find such cases, you can't say, hey, look, you idiot, you didn't know how to open your Word. You know what I mean? You can't be like that. So you got to be diplomatic. Even when you're telling them that, look, it is your fault because you didn't do this, you have to say it in a specific way. And that's something that I learned, and it was a good positive skill that I got to learn to manage people in a negative state without, first of all, fucking up your mood, the second of all, getting them into a more like, okay, it's nothing, we'll fix it, we're here for you, you know what I mean? So it was a good school. And technical knowledge wise as well, I did learn a few things which were interesting on how to, assembly things. On the desktop component, it was quite simple, and I knew most of the things, if not all. On the laptop, there were a lot of things that I learned on the job. So another interesting thing that happened in the place is that's where I met my wife. So my wife, she was in the teller, you know what I mean, where people pay to get the stuff. The word is not coming in my mind. The checkout. So she was working there, and I saw her, she will always be very beautiful. She grabbed my attention straight away, and we'll go into that process, that story, that relationship story in a different separate video. But a positive thing that came out of that job, you know what I mean, was that in general, if you ask me how was that job overall, I will say it was both positive and negative. It had a lot of positive things, it had a lot of negative things. The positives, we'll go through those, is, as I said, that it was to get your foot through the door, you know what I mean? In Greece, there's a concept of you got to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, meaning that you don't specialize on a specific thing. Okay, fair enough, but if you're keen to learn different things, it's perfect. You know what I mean? And if you're not negative, and when somebody tells you, can you cover for him on the refrigerator section? Can you cover for him? Can you cover? Then you learn and you get into the job quickly. You know what I mean? So that was one of the positives. And there's other positives. There were a lot of friends that I made. We used to go for beers after work. So the climate was good, let's say. And there were a lot of good and there were a lot of bad sort of managers. The IT manager that I had was good. So I met with my wife. We started going out and everything, but it was frowned upon at work to, to be in a relationship. And from some past work colleagues that I knew, they had actually split them up whenever they found out that they were together. So that was something that we were worried with my wife. So we kept it down low. But at some point they must have got drift of it. And that was one of the downsides, let's say, of my job. Already, I was very good at my job. I used to there used to be this thing called the Dream Team. So every month they used to get the best salesperson, the best IT guys, the service guys, the best from each section, and that was based on productivity. Like the sales, how many sales did you sell? The ladies at the counters, how friendly you were, how positive, ratings you got, everything. So each one of us had their targets, let's say, their evaluation, and based on productivity, you used to come the top. The top three used to go inside a dream team. So the top three people from all the different departments, they used to call us the dream team. And that was a positive thing because you got extra money. The money that I used to get was around 680 euro. That's after tax. And whenever you got into the dream team, you got another 300 euro on the month. So that was a huge thing because it was like half the pay and more. Another thing to mention here about Greek jobs, since it's the first job that I'm talking about, is that the money is really, really bad in comparison to Australia. But that's, the cost of life in Australia is also a little bit more expensive, but not to the extent that it excuses the low pay in Greece. So when people ask me, what do you recommend Greece? I will say I do not recommend Greece, at least on a professional level as far as, work. The problem that I had with that work is that I came Dream Team once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th time, I was still one of the highest. I was on the top 3 service. I used to average 42 computers a day. 42 computers a day is a lot, you know what I mean? I used to put like a desktop, laptops in between, format this, set up this one, assembly another one. I used to go crazy, I loved my job and I still love the whole IT industry, so I had no problem. It was not like I was doing it for that, but I had an incentive. And the 4th, they stopped paying me. They stopped giving me the extra. And when I asked them why is that, I'm still coming on the top 3. They said that we have to rotate the team around. That was their excuse. And we cannot have the same people getting paid. And I told them this is not unreasonable because I'm still coming on the top 3. What do you mean? They said we have to give other people a chance as well and everything. So that was a really bad negative thing, which pissed the fuck out of me. I thought these are idiots. I tried to slowly climb by getting better position. So I had, I inquired about what does it take to become like a service manager, like a supervisor. And they told me that from 630 something money, you will go to 780, but you have to work 10 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day. So it ended up being the same thing. So there was no really incentive to put in the extra effort. And as soon as I saw that, I go bummed out. I felt like, what the fuck am I doing here? It's good, yes, I have become excellent at my work. I've learned what it is to learn. I managed to be on the top 3, and I'm still on the top 3 for so long, which means I'm going, like hardcore on my productivity. But they're not rewarding me for this, you know what I mean? And when you give somebody like 300 extra in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then you cut it out, it's better if they didn't give me at all, you know what I mean? It's like a real slap in the face. So I really got disappointed with that component, and I started cutting down on the productivity. They also separated us. That's another thing, because they realized that I was related with, we had a relationship with Jen, even though we had not said anything. They changed me store. That's another thing that pissed me off, because with my wife after work, we used to go separate so they don't see us together. But then we used to meet up on the metro station, and we used to, go together. And we had more similar work shifts, which was good. When they changed me store, I had different work shifts. I used to come home, my wife used to leave like it was spastic shit like that. which made life more difficult. And I started cutting down the productivity. But like I said, because I had a good supervisor on the IT service, they put me back to the store that I initially started. So Sturnari is the name of the road where the store is, and behind there's a little road which is called Zaimi, and I used to be there on Zaim on the technical. So they separated me from Syntagma Voulis, which was where I met my wife. And I started cutting down the productivity. This became evident to the management. Like from 40 computers, I dropped down to 7 computers. Like basically nothing. It was hilariously tragic and evident that something was bothering me. There were a lot of managers, and I had started going through the process of, okay, I gotta look for another work. I gotta find something else. I was doing interviews. I was doing this. I was doing that. And at some point, a lot of managers were speaking to me. What's wrong, John? What's wrong with this? I used to tell them the truth. I was not holding back. I used to tell them, I asked you for to get a promotion. You told me I have to work 10 hours and get just the money for the thing. Like, what the fuck is that? Is that how you climb through the ladder? What's the incentives here? You know what I mean? I'm going to get responsibility. I'm going to get extra things. You know what I mean? Knowledge-wise, I've got whatever it is. I've proved that I've got what it takes. My productivity is through the roof. You should be begging me. You know what I mean? But again, they were saying that, this is policy, company policy. You have to go through this and this and this. So because of the policy, I don't have anything against the manager's house per se. They were there to represent the company. But the company policy and the road that they took and their approach to the staff showed that it was not, like a people-oriented, let's say, company. And other times that we kept on asking me things, how come you dropped your productivity? I go to them, there's no incentive. You told me that, you have to rotate the people that are in the dream team. So why should I be in the dream team again? And I was making jokes. On some of them, they were coming to me with an aggressive sort of attitude, in a way of, I'm going to make him work now. But that did not work on me, I've gone through 100 fucking jobs, like, you ain't gonna fuck around with most of my psychology. In some cases, I was actually kidding, like, I was playing around with him, And one of the managers that he came in, he was more of a aggressive kind of a guy. He goes, this is unexcusable, this is not professional, and just the fact that you showed that you could do it and now you're not doing it, it just shows how terrible of a worker it is. And I turned around and go to him, listen to me, mate. First of all, cool down your fucking voice. I spoke to him straight away like that. Cool down your fucking voice. And second of all, when you're ready to re-rotate the dream team and put me back on the top, I'll give you 40 computers, because I can do it. And I was just smiling at him like that. So he shouted the fuck up. If you want to play around games, I'll play around games as well. You know what I mean? I'm a kind of person that I will work my fucking ass until my nuts drop on the floor. But don't fuck me up. Don't show me that you're not respecting me. If I get any fucking sense that you're not respecting me, I will be the opposite. And I can do that. And some work colleagues were looking at me and they were saying, John, how can you fucking flip around? Yeah, I can easily flip 180 degrees. So don't fuck with me. And this is a good thing to the employers, to learn. When you have a work colleague that gives it at all, he's honest and he's hardworking, don't underappreciate him. Okay, that's a lesson to all the bad employers out there. Because he's not an idiot. The goodness of his heart sometimes gets confused with he's a silly guy. Okay, we can do whatever we want with him. That's not true. You know what I mean? So they started doing things again. At some point of time, the top manager came, which his name was Gerardos. He came and he said, I know why you're like this. It's because we separated you with your girl. How about we put you back in the same store? They were being smartasses, which you don't approach someone like that. And even to that guy at the top level, I go to him, listen to me, the ship has sailed. Like the top guy, I spoke to him like that. He had the fucking company. The ship has sailed. The negotiation phase has already passed. Now, do whatever you think with me. You want to fire me? Fire me. I was ready because I had some other jobs behind. He did not do that because he obviously wanted the productivity to be there. And he let me in the store. A good thing here that happened with one of my supervisors in the service, because he realized what was happening. And we were friends with that guy. We went out for beers and stuff. He goes to me, John, let's go out for a beer. I want to talk to you. His name was Vangelis. I'm not going to say his surname. I remember that. Vangelis. He was an awesome fucking guy. We went out for beers. We sat down. He goes to me, look, I know what you're doing. I go to him, what do you mean? We were friends with a guy. I go, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He goes, I know what you're doing. You're cutting down the productivity. He goes, do me a favor, just so I can get management off my back. If you can, give me 20 pieces a day. 20 pieces a day is 20% more than what every other technician is doing. I know you could do 40 plus. Give me 20. If you give me 20, I will shut the fuck up with management. I'll get them off my back. And if you can do this for me, what I will do, whenever you want to go on an interview, I'll cover for you. Where's John? I'll send him on an errand. So he was a fucking top bloke, and what we say in Greece, he was full on fucking straight. He told me this and this and this. You know what I mean? I told him, well, fuck yeah. I appreciate what you're doing for me, and I am sorry because we do have a good relationship, but because of company policy, they're breaking up our vibe. That's another lesson for the employers. You got a good team, don't fuck it up. You know what I mean? Don't try to separate them and change them. And so this is the process that I went through. I went into the process of looking for another job. He was covering it for me. I found many positions, but that's another good thing. When you have a job and you know that they need you, and you know that you're getting a specific amount of money, then you can really negotiate on your future jobs. So it took, I think, around 1 year. My wife had left that job in the meantime because she was in the process as well. She got pissed off as well, the fact that they separated us. Life was becoming, fucking silly. She went through a hard process. She found already a job as I was still working. So I had started that place before her, but she left before me. So I've worked much more than my wife there. I think it was around 3-4 years something. So my wife came for like 1 year. I had already working a year. She came in the middle section where we met up and we did everything, and she found another job. The job that she found was much better. It was a 9-to-5 job, so our afternoons we were more together, which was good, especially in the beginning of a relationship. And again, that's another lesson for the employers is people have fucking personal lives. You know what I mean? I was in the beginning of my relationship, you fucked that. That's a message to replace you. You fucked that. Again, it didn't put me down, it didn't bother me, and I'm found a way to go around it. But if I was a different character, if I was much younger, because I've seen a lot of young kids that this is a stepping stone for them, and they fucking abuse the fuck out of them. You know what I mean? Don't fuck the psychology of your employers as an employee. Your employees as employer. So at some point of time, I did make that decision. I found an awesome job. We'll go to a different video for that. I see we're already on 30 minutes, so I'll try to keep the video short and we'll end it up shortly. I did find another job. It was perfect, a lot of better money. Like from 600 something, I went to like straight away 8 close to 900. Much more better position. It was much more IT oriented. It was not like assembly. It was more in the software. There was a lot of things to do with databases, and there was a lot of things. There was a lot of software thing, which was the missing component. That was something that I wanted to get into. You know what I mean? Because I had covered all the hardware stuff, let's say, through the Placer job. What was missing was to practice all my knowledge that I had from school when it came to development, when it came to databases, when it came to those type of things, application, you know what I mean, all these things. I had not had a full-on hardcore job related to that. And in Australia, I had not had many IT jobs either. So that was a missing component, and that's why I targeted that job. And it seemed that the climate was good and everything. And it was good, and we'll go through it on a different video, what the name of the company was and so forth. So don't get me wrong, I'm not here to badmouth Placer, and I'm not here to badmouth or whatever, but we got to state the facts as they are. I mean, there's positive and there's a negative. It was a good experience as far as there's a stepping stone to get your foot through the door, but there was no incentive. It's very difficult to climb up, and usually the people that stay back, I had a lot of friends which they climb slowly to management and everything. We're talking about minimum pay. Like they were getting more hours after you go to 10 hours for 700, you go to like 12-hour shifts with like 800, 900. You're working your ass off, like to become a manager on the store, and then slowly in the second year you get a better pay and better pay. Some of them now they're in good positions and they've got better pay. But in order for them to get to that process, it took a lot out of them. You know what I mean? Which to me, if you ask me, and each one of us has their own opinion, it was not necessary. It's not necessary to go through that. There are other opportunities and other jobs as long as you're willing to take the risk. And if you have a job, you're getting paid, you don't have, let's say, the stress of I gotta make ends meet and I gotta pay the bills. You got a fucking job. So when you go to an interview, you can negotiate with them. You say, yeah, I'm currently working here. There's no incentive for me to climb into my work. I'm looking for something better, something more interesting. I'm looking to go into more of the software rather than the hardware. So it's less physical work for me, and I'm looking for this and this and this. I love the field. I'm ready. I've got this and this and this studies. And that's how you go in. And when they ask you what you're looking for, a minimum pay, you have to have in your mind a minimum pay. Back then, when I was negotiating, I had the price in my mind. And I told them 850 is the minimum. I don't go below that. That's it. You give them a number. You know what I mean? Could I have given more? Maybe. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to get the money, more money that Pleasure was giving me for the 10-hour shift, but on an 8-hour shift. That's what I wanted to do. And I managed to do this. You know what I mean? I got more than what Pleasure was giving. So, and towards the end, when I announced that, I'm going to leave the company, it was going crazy. People were coming to me, they were screaming, what are you doing? They were trying to fuck up my psychology, which again shows that you're a bad employer if that's your approach, you know what I mean? So, and at some point, because they realized that it was not working and it was not fucking my psychology and everything, they were not scaring me, and they were doing scare tactics and shit, then they switched that around. They became very friendly with me. It's like, can you give us an extra month? Because I told them, like, in 2 weeks, I'm going to leave. You know what I mean? That's can you give us like another 1 week, 3 weeks, 2 weeks? And I told them, no, I'm not going to sit here back for 1 month and just because you want it, you know what I mean? You got new people, you're considering that my knowledge is not worth paying more, therefore what knowledge transfer? Just get another new guy and teach him, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. It's bad management, you know what I mean? But I was already, as I said to the big guy, that's what I told him, the ship has sailed, you know what I mean? When you're going the process of looking for another job, having interviews, your girlfriend has left that job already and you're the only one that's staying behind. You're almost as if you're not there, no matter what you do. And they actually made better offers money-wise as well. We're going to give you this much money more, like from 600 to 700 and thing, which is fucking ridiculous. Talking about $100, but you fucked with my psychology. I found another job which was close to $900. So anyway, a lot of lessons to be taken from this. It was an interesting experience, the first job that I had in Greece. A good school, I did learn a lot of things, interesting things, and that's about it, yeah. So, thank you everybody very, very much. I hope it didn't take too much of your time, as it were like almost 40 minutes. Take care, and I'll bid you goodbye. Bye-bye.